Hey y'all, hey, it's your girl Leah Ray, and I want to welcome you to an episode of Leah Ray's Way. I guess I'm gonna call it an episode today because I'm actually doing an episode review. So today we are going to be reviewing episode 4 of W.A.G.s. Okay. The first scene is Sherelle in Fancy's boutique. This is another character that they introduced. Apparently Fancy has a very poppin' boutique in Miami and has, I guess, I don't know if it's all the latest, because honestly y'all, and I'm gonna come back to this, a lot of the stuff that they be wearing, I'm not trying to throw no shade, like I'm really not, it be looking like you can get it off Fashion Nova, especially like the bodycon dresses and stuff. So when they be saying certain things as high fashion, they must be talking about name brand only. I just be wondering sometimes, you know? So anyway, Portia shows up and Sherelle begins telling Portia about how her and Chad are having these little petty arguments. And Sherelle goes on this whole spiel about how everybody thinks that Chad built her, but really she had her own thing going and they built each other. And I just had to be like, pause, pump the brakes, honey, pump the brakes. I'm sure you didn't help Chad get into the NFL, okay? I think Chad built himself. She was trying to put on this like facade that she did everything by herself, but then she went on to say that the doors that were open for her would have never been opened. So those of you who have watched ahead in the season, I don't know, it's given Chad really built her. Just because you started a business before him doesn't mean that he didn't build the business because of his status and his reputation and the connections that he had. I don't know, y'all know her from a different show, so y'all tell me what it is. It just seems like she's able to level up because of him, but she said it. She said doors would have never been open. Okay, she gonna later renege on this statement, but I digress. So then the next scene, MJ is at Alexa's house and, you know, we're talking more about her and Kodak's situation, and apparently she walked in and caught him with another girl, but she has this mentality of that's what we signed up for, you know, dating these rappers and stuff like that. But that just takes me back to her mother's advice when her mother told her that all men cheat. You see how it's shaping her perception? Every single person is not the same. I'm not even just talking about men, I'm just talking about people in general. It was designed like that. So you just can't box people in. We already know how generalizations and stereotypes can hurt an entire subgroup of people. So we really have to get out of doing that, I think, because especially when you're dealing with the younger generation, as is MJ, she's only 22 years old, we have to really do better with that. All right, so next we go to Sade and Sherelle, and they're at a restaurant, and Sherelle wanted to meet up with Sade about the situation that happened, so she called her. Sade was like an hour to an hour and a half late. I think she did it on purpose because, first of all, Sherelle, you came for Sade, and she probably really didn't even care to meet with you, but she's, you know, trying to play kumbaya, so she decided to meet, but she's gonna let you know that you're not on the top of her list, honey. The thing that bothered me about this is that Sherelle feels the way that she feels about Sade in part because of the things that she's been told. But she decides she's giving Sade grace. So my question is, if you're giving Sade grace, why didn't you give Stoney the same grace? You're talking about reputations and stuff like that. Give everybody that. Get to know the person instead of judging them based on what you've heard. Back with Sherelle and her antics. Then she got amnesia again, y'all. She talking about, oh, I don't remember calling you a B because Sade called her out on that. And that's what I like about Sade. Sade is not like a pushover. She looks all tiny and cute and sweet, but she really does stand up for herself and she will put you in her place. So Sade was just like, okay, whatever, you don't remember, sure. You know how Sherelle is always like, I don't remember that, I'm focused on my money, girl. Who you trying to convince? This is what I'm talking about. It always comes back to the lies. All right, so they squashed their beef and it's all good. We move on to Keita and Portia, and they're at a restaurant. Keita did not show up to the Mother's Day brunch, so Portia was getting her all caught up on everything. Apparently, there has been like some rumors going around with Keita saying that maybe she's not as approachable, or maybe she might be a mean girl herself, and Portia was trying to say it's because of Tyreek's position of being such a high profile athlete that maybe people don't want to approach her and stuff like that. But Keita seems pretty cool to me, so I guess we'll see. All right, the next scene is Ashley and Philip's house, I think, and Ashley's putting on this glamping event. Y'all, I always wanted to glamp, and I love the idea of backyard glamping. I think I'm gonna give it a go. I really want to give it a go this like spring, summer. I can't do it in the South down here in the heat. You will pass out. But it was really cute. You know, they had the little teepee. Well, it wasn't little, it was big. And then they had a chef on site and they had all these things. And she knew that she was dealing with a bunch of bougie girls. So she was going to have to do it up because they were not just going to be sitting out in the woods doing real camping. That was not about to go. So she really hooked it up and it looked really cute. So at this little glamping event, they are really pressing Sade about being pregnant. And here goes old Sherelle, being that which she allegedly despises, which is ghetto, starts hollering about Sade being pregnant, talking about go get a pregnancy test and all this kind of... It's the pot calling the kettle black. Once again, quick to call somebody ghetto, but be acting ghetto. I can't with her. So, you know, everybody was invited but Jules, because that is going to be the new target now, because even Stoney was invited. Ashley comes from Stoney right away, talking about, why are you late? Stoney was claiming that it's because she couldn't find nothing to wear. And then the commentation, when they were commentating? I can't think of the word right now. But when they were just sitting and, you know, retelling the story or whatever in front of the camera, they were making fun of Stoney, saying she looked like she was going to Coachella and the boots were giving Mary J and all this kind of stuff. Said she didn't know how to dress for the event. Come on, girl. You have the internet. You are going glamping. You could have looked it up. You understand what I'm saying? But see, this is going to play into Stoney's boutique situation later on down the road and why she's in the situation that she's in. But we'll get back to that. But I'm just like, who cares, y'all? Who cares? I mean, you were in the girl's backyard. Y'all supposed to be having a good time. When can y'all just close your mouths and just stop talking about people? So apparently Sherelle had a conversation with Stoney after the situation with Jules, because she was like, you know, Jules hitting a black woman. This is what Sherelle was saying and stuff like that. And I'm just like, oh, so now we're gonna pick a new target? Okay, so we're gonna let Stoney in because Jules is the new target, and I can ride the coattail of the people who were saying that she was culturally appropriating and she was hitting black women and all this kind of stuff. That wasn't even on Sherelle's radar until the other chick started saying, this is what I'm talking about. If you want to talk about culture vulture, talk about personality vulture, because Sherelle is just soaking up everybody's thing. Everything she hears, soaking up everybody's stances. If anybody's a vulture, she's a vulture. I don't understand why they have to have an outcast. Y'all could just like not care. Y'all could just like move on. Let it go. But you got to have a target, right? Okay, but you have to have somebody to pick on. Else you're not the mean girl or that chick like you say you are. Because if you don't have a target, you can't show the other ladies who's boss. Because it's a lot of bosses in the group. I digress. So anyways, Stoney's trying to have a kiki moment. And sometimes when Stoney brings stuff up, like it just gives... The highest education I got was high school. That's what it gives. I mean, some of the stuff she says does sound kind of like not intelligent, and I'm just like, what are you thinking? Why would you ask that? Why would you say that? Anyway, she was trying to have like a kiki moment, and she was like, I'm the #1 baby mama, because she was asking the girls how they feel about the other like baby mamas. When Stoney said that she was #1, somebody gonna say, oh, you think you better because you #1? Leave her alone. Why are y'all picking on her? Just let her have her moment. Just like y'all let Jules allegedly appropriate your entire race. You let that slide. Let what Stoney do slide. Let her get away with some stuff. Gosh, they always down her neck. It's annoying. All right, so moving on to scene 6, and we're at Sherelle's house, and she's telling a story. What is it? The commentary? She was telling a story about, she was talking to somebody, I think, about how Chad and her were up in the middle of the night, and he said that he was hungry, and she said that she was hungry too. And then he said again that he was hungry a little while later, and she said that she was hungry too. Obviously, Chad wanted her to get up and make him something to eat, but she was being petty, I think, in the moment. She seems like a petty chick. I mean, I think we can all agree on that. Anyway, this is the segue into the marital counseling that they're gonna have, and I think that's a good thing. When Adrian and I got married, before we got married, we had premarital counseling, and we even had a session afterwards, after we had been married for a while. We really need to make it a priority, because it's really good to constantly be in reflection of your relationship and learning new skills. So I think it's a good thing that they're gonna have premarital counseling, especially with his 8+4=11 kids. So, all right, so the last scene of this, we go to Stoney's boutique, and Jules pops into her boutique, and Stoney's just being messy. So I'm wondering if because I'm really rooting for Stoney, right? So I'm wondering if it's the edits that got the timeline off and this was happening actually prior to her conversation with Sherelle and then working it all out and all that kind of stuff, or is this really the after the fact? Because if it's after the fact, Stoney being real fake. What I got from that entire scene was that Stoney knows something Sherelle may not know about Chad, because she said that she gonna get her payback with her marriage and that Chad is still in them streets. Boop. But anyway, y'all, that wraps up episode 4. Let me know what you thought about episode 4. I want you to tell me, do you think that they're doing something weird with the editing, or do you think that Stoney's just being fake? Like she's playing like, yeah, it's all good, Sherelle, and then she's talking about Sherelle behind her back. Y'all let me know. Tell me your thoughts of this episode, and I guess I'll see y'all when I see y'all. Peace.